Hi, I'm Sonia Jante.
I'm Jonathan Ward.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Lane, and together we're Unlocking Leadership. We are three experienced executive coaches with very different disciplines. And every episode, we take your question from a real client and provide key insights to address their challenges from our three different perspectives. It's a holistic approach to understanding challenges and opportunities. Our question for this episode comes from Dennis in West Palm Beach. He asks, I work for a family-owned company that has been in business for 50 years. They are bringing in new leaders now to develop the company for the future. What should we look for in the new leaders to continue to be successful, yet adapt to the future? Jonathan or Sonia, who would like to give any recommendations to Dennis? How about Sonia?
All right. So, Dennis, thank you for this question. And first of all, congratulations for being with a firm that has been able to be successful and obviously stay in business for 50 years. So there probably is a lot of real solid information and principles and foundations that the company has laid in order to be in business this long. And so when you're looking at new leaders, you're looking for people that are not necessarily coming in to be change agents. You're looking for people that are able to integrate and blend, people that are able to recognize and I don't know if you've heard the term when leaders are being put into a new role and they're trying to understand how the people in the group feel or the organization feels. They say that they're on a listening tour. And so basically, I would say that you would want to bring in leaders that are good listeners and good observers of what has been going on in the organization and what is working well, so that they can, if you will, leverage and build on that, and then be able to, within understanding the culture as it exists and recognizing that they are being brought in order to be able to, if you will, bring the organization into the future or bring them up to speed in terms of certain changes, whether it's technology or elsewhere, being able to then create a like a bridge to the vision that the family has for it being able to be in business for the next 50 years. Because again, you have a very strong legacy to build on, but now it's being able to understand what other factors are going to be important in being able to get there. And it sometimes helps if there is a story. I remember when I first did some coaching at Toyota, and they had a film that we all got to see about the original family that owned Toyota and what industries they'd been in and how they built it and what was still remaining there of the culture, what was still part of it, and then what it was that they did in order to, if you will, embrace the future. So you need somebody that's a good blender, a good bridge builder, a good integrator. This would be where I would start.
Yeah, this is a great question because there's two companies I work with that are family-owned businesses, which is really interesting that this question has come up to us today. And one in particular has been asking me to help hire and interview some of his next level of leadership, i.e. the COO and the CFOs. And he has a wonderful culture. I think there's some great attributes of a family organization. It feels very community-like, very connecting. The communication tends to be a little bit more open, not as formal, if you will. So sometimes a family organization may have 18 employees, right? Or somebody less than 50 employees, if you will. Yet they're really trying to get to the next level. So what do? They bring in other leaders who have had experience in larger organizations to come in and to share that experience and to help come in and say, okay, from an objective view, here's what's working. Here, if you want to grow, three different, make, now instead of one retail store, you're now in 70 retail stores. What has to happen for us to get to that next level, right? And coming from a family-owned business to go to that level, if the CEO doesn't have that experience, somebody coming in from larger organizations can provide that, i.e., how do you negotiate contracts with vendors to be able to create a stronger, more profitable input of supplies, right, and inventory, right? How do you standardize pricing across all your stores, right? How do you add a level of automation, if you will? So it's kind of like taking the beauty of what this family organization has built in over 50 years and taking those strengths that make it so wonderful in the product and the customer service and the uniqueness of the product, but be able to scale it up, right? To allow it to grow is usually why family-owned organizations start bringing in additional leadership. So it's a nice blend. It's just new. It's new information. It's new experiences. It's leadership to take the family and replicate that to the best of its ability in order to be profitable and expand. So I'll turn that one over to Jonathan to see what his insights are.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought too. It just struck me, you think about a lot of companies say like, well, we would like to think of ourselves as a family. Well, in this case here, the company is the family. The brand is the family. This is how the family is known out in the world. And so there's a lot of risk to the family name if they expand and they don't do things the right way. A great question that I ask sometimes in strategic planning things is like, what happens if this fails, or what would it be like if this didn't work out? And so I think a lot of times families need to take a step. Well, any business owner would want to take a step back and think about it. Says, am I really willing to commit to the possibility that this might not work if I go forward with things? I don't want to, of course, put that fear of failure in there, but I think it's good to have a grounding in that is a possibility if you are moving off of the track that you've been on for a while. I find that it's really helpful for any company to have a strategic plan, or even start with a very clear mission and vision. This is what we're all about. These are our values. This is where we, the people we serve, why it's important to us, why we're in this business. And then to think about where you want to go. If our vision is to move from 5 stores to 30 stores in many different states, what has to happen for that to be there? And let's go through and do a very careful analysis of all the people who are currently working in the executive suites here. What are the strengths that we already have, and where do we have clear gaps in the capabilities of our leadership team? And so that helps you then inform the kind of people you're going to go out and recruit. Do I need people with merger and acquisition experience, or do I need people with government contracts experience, or things like that? So it helps you be a little bit more targeted in your interviews. And as Sonia was saying too, is that you want to make sure that if you're bringing in somebody to be a change agent, that it is a change agent that's going to be compatible with the organization. Because if you bring somebody in who's going to try to make all kinds of changes, the first thing the organization is going to do is reject that person and cause them to be a failure. So I think it really is helpful for you to be clear about the specific competencies that you're looking for, but also what are the personality traits that leader has to show. A leader that comes into a family-owned business and who's not part of the family is only going to get so far in that organization. And so, that needs to be a clear expectation for them as well. When they come in the door, you have to find somebody who's willing to put that little piece of ego aside and be able to work for the good of the greater organization rather than just for their own advancement. So those are just some of the types of things that I would be thinking about that in doing it. And I wish you luck with that. It's tough for any organization, but especially for a family business to really make that big leap.
Sometimes an organization, even a family-owned organization, will have a board, and potentially there are members of the board there that may provide some insight about the kind of leadership that they will now need in order to be able to get to the next level. I think also we're living in a time when we're hiring people from many generations. So potentially being able to have leaders that recognize the talent of some of the more middle management people that are still young and could potentially be mentored by some of the people coming in might go a long way for the family to feel like, okay, we invested in these people, we brought them along. Now we're bringing in people that are going to be able to help them get there. I think that there's many options for making it a win-win, but at the end of the day, as Jonathan said, it's the family's name on the marquee, and so they want their brand to continue to be what it is, or continue to expand and be better. And there is a certain experience that one has when you work for a family-owned company that you don't have anywhere else. Because it isn't like there's a lot of politics. It's like we pretty much know who makes decisions. We pretty much know what's going to fly and what doesn't fly. So people don't have to waste their time on a lot of politics and stuff like that. That's also an advantage that I would say. So don't bring in political kind of people.
Yeah, and then the other thing too is as I'm working with one particular client who's building his leadership team, people are within a family-owned organization are used to consistency and familiarity. It's the family, right? And you want to make sure that the new leaders coming in are their intention is good, right? As much as you can, that they're going to stay there a while and build the relationships with the employees and team and kind of exude that same family feeling, if you will, to the extent that they can. You don't want this revolving door of executives that are coming in. That's not going to be healthy for the organization. So you want stick-to-itiveness and people that really can help build the culture out and create that community and scale it to the level that you want to do to be profitable. But I think that's important too.
Well, thank you, Dennis from West Palm Beach, for your question today. We hope you and our viewers and listeners will have had a better understanding of what type of leader helps to build a future with bridges to the past in a family-owned business. To our listeners, if you like the content we shared today, please like this episode and also share and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Unlocking Leadership-askthecoaches.com. We look forward to reading your reviews. You can also find Unlocking Leadership Ask the Coaches on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. If you have a leadership question or would like to reach out to our coaches, please email us at info@unlockingleadership-askthecoaches.com. We would love to hear from you. So thanks for joining us today, and tune in next time to find the keys to unlocking your best leadership.